The date was August 6, 1945. The world was at war, locked in a global conflict. At 8:15 a.m., the course of human history would forever be altered. A B-29 bomber, the Enola Gay, dropped a single bomb over Hiroshima. It was a weapon of unimaginable destructive power. This act brought an abrupt end to the war in the Pacific, yet it also ushered in a new and uncertain era. The impact was immediate and devastating, leaving a legacy of destruction and loss. The detonation of the atomic bomb over Hiroshima unleashed a force equivalent to 15,000 tons of TNT. In a blinding flash of light and heat, the city below was instantly transformed. A massive fireball, reaching temperatures of millions of degrees Celsius, engulfed everything within a 1-mile radius. Buildings vaporized, their shadows seared into the ground. People in the immediate vicinity were instantly incinerated, their bodies turned to ash. The shock wave from the blast radiated outwards at supersonic speeds, flattening everything in its path for miles. Concrete structures crumbled, their steel skeletons twisted and mangled. Windows shattered miles from the epicenter, and the deafening roar of the explosion was heard as far away as 30 miles. The intense heat ignited fires that raged through the city, consuming whatever the blast had spared. These fires, fueled by the debris and fanned by the winds, created a firestorm that engulfed Hiroshima, turning the once vibrant city into a raging inferno. The devastation within a 1.5-mile radius of Ground Zero was absolute. Everything within this zone was obliterated, leaving behind a desolate wasteland of rubble and ash. The once familiar streets and landmarks were unrecognizable. The heart of Hiroshima had ceased to exist. Buildings were reduced to rubble, their foundations pulverized into dust. Trees were stripped bare, their branches charred and blackened. The human toll was catastrophic. Tens of thousands of people were killed instantly, vaporized by the unimaginable heat or crushed by collapsing buildings. Those who survived the initial blast faced a horrific ordeal. Many suffered from severe burns, their skin peeling off in sheets. Others were blinded by the intense flash of light or deafened by the deafening roar. The air was thick with dust, smoke, and the stench of death. The horrors of Hiroshima did not end with the initial blast. In the days, weeks, and years that followed, the survivors, known as hibakusha, faced a lifetime of physical and psychological trauma. Many suffered from radiation sickness, a debilitating illness caused by exposure to high levels of radiation. The symptoms were agonizing, including nausea, vomiting, hair loss, and internal bleeding. The long-term effects of radiation exposure included an increased risk of cancer, birth defects, and other health problems. The psychological scars of the bombing ran deep. Survivors struggled with post-traumatic stress disorder, haunted by the memories of that fateful day. The city of Hiroshima, once a bustling center of commerce and culture, lay in ruins. The task of rebuilding seemed insurmountable. Yet the people of Hiroshima displayed remarkable resilience and determination. They returned to their shattered city, cleared the rubble, and began the arduous task of rebuilding their lives and their communities. Section 5. Hiroshima's Legacy, a World Changed. The atomic bombing of Hiroshima sent shockwaves across the globe. It was a stark and terrifying demonstration of the destructive power of nuclear weapons. The world had entered the atomic age, an era defined by the constant threat of nuclear annihilation. The bombing of Hiroshima had profound implications for global politics and warfare. It ushered in the Cold War, a period of intense rivalry and mistrust between the United States and the Soviet Union, both armed with nuclear arsenals capable of unimaginable destruction. The specter of nuclear war hung over the world, casting a long shadow over international relations. The bombing of Hiroshima also sparked a global movement for peace and disarmament. People from all walks of life, horrified by the devastation wrought by the atomic bomb, called for an end to nuclear weapons and a commitment to peaceful resolution of conflict. This movement gained momentum over the decades, leading to treaties and agreements aimed at limiting the spread of nuclear weapons and reducing the risk of nuclear war. Section 6. The Nuclear Threat. A Sword of Damocles. Despite these efforts, the threat of nuclear war remains a very real and present danger. The world is still home to thousands of nuclear weapons, many of them far more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. The proliferation of nuclear technology to more countries increases the risk of these weapons falling into the wrong hands. whether those of rogue states or terrorist organizations. The potential consequences of a nuclear detonation are too catastrophic to comprehend. A single nuclear weapon could kill millions of people instantly and cause widespread environmental devastation. The use of multiple nuclear weapons could trigger a global nuclear winter, plunging the planet into darkness and leading to widespread famine and disease. The threat of nuclear war is not a distant or abstract concern, it is a clear and present danger that demands our urgent attention. Section 7. Remembering Hiroshima, a call for peace. The 79th anniversary of the atomic bombing of Hiroshima stands as a solemn reminder of the devastating consequences of nuclear war. It is a time to remember the victims, to honor the survivors, and to reaffirm our commitment to a world without nuclear weapons. Remembering Hiroshima is not about dwelling on the past. It is about learning from the mistakes of history and working to prevent them from happening again. It is about acknowledging the human cost of war and the urgent need for peaceful solutions to conflict. The lessons of Hiroshima are as relevant today as they were in 1945. We must continue to educate ourselves and future generations about the dangers of nuclear weapons and the importance of diplomacy, dialogue, and cooperation. We must support efforts to reduce nuclear arsenals, prevent the spread of nuclear technology, and ultimately achieve a world free from the threat of nuclear annihilation. Section 8. Towards a future free from fear. The atomic bombing of Hiroshima was a tragedy of unimaginable proportions. It left an indelible mark on human history. Yet, from the ashes of Hiroshima, a message of hope emerged. A hope that humanity could learn from its mistakes and choose a path of peace. The Hibakusha share their stories to ensure such horrors are never repeated. They are a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Let us remember Hiroshima and honor the survivors. Let us work together for a future free from fear.